Good morning, Mercy and Brenda. Is that your name? That's how you call yourself? Well, anyway, hope that you're able to hear me. Awes Abubakar. Awes Abubakar, I hope that you're able to hear me, Mercy and Brenda. Hope that you're able to hear me. Just as the big blue button, there is a chat area that you can actually use. So to place your chat or to communicate, to say what you need to say. Please confirm that you're able to hear me and you're also able to see me clearly. Okay, so as I was saying, this is the work that I had given you for the last class, where I had told you to read about the capacity increasing methods, and I hope that you're able to see the screen that I've just shared there, the capacity increasing methods. And because it was work that you were supposed to do and research on your own, I will just go through one by one. The methods are cell splitting the cells into subcells, cell sectoring, having each subcell have its own base station controller, and we have cell sectoring, cell splitting, and also adding new channels and frequency borrowing. Right, so we had already even discussed what frequency borrowing is all about. So today we are going to discuss, just as and also another thing is that this is a free version of Zoom. So that means it cannot support more than 40 minutes. I think you know that it cannot support more than 40 minutes. But basically, this is just a temporary solution because the big blue button is in use for the big blue button app is in use for orientation for first years. That is why it is not available. In other words, if we try using it, the service will be inconsistent. So that's why we are using this, but it's just for today. So it lasts for 40 minutes. So let's see what we can do in 40 minutes. And probably if we are going to have covered much, we'll not have to create another meeting, because after all, by that time, the time will be over for me to join the next meeting. So what is handoff? We said in the other meeting, in the other class, that handoff is when we were talking about the connection procedure. When you turn on a phone, when you switch on a phone, we said that handoff is the handing over of control of a frequency from one base station controller to another. It is the handing over of control of frequency from one base station controller to another. Why does that happen? Basically, the reason why that happens, why handoff happens, is if a frequency has reached threshold and the maximum number of users for that frequency has reached a maximum, and that frequency is not able to support more, then control of that frequency is going to be handed over to another base station controller. And also, if most of the time most of the time if you are moving away from one cell to another, because remember, every cell uses its own frequency, and those frequencies are in the control of the base station controller of that cell. So if you are moving away from one cell into another, that kind of movement, physical movement, if you are moving away during a call, you are moving away from one cell to another. So that means you are moving from the control of base station controller 1 to the control of base station controller 2. So when you are physically moving during a call from one cell to another, then handoff will have to be done. The reason being, you are using frequencies. The frequency that you're using is going to change because you are entering into another cell. So handoff is the handing over control of a frequency from one base station controller to another. We together? From one base station controller to another. So that is what handoff is about. It's about handing over control of a frequency from one base station controller to another. What happens when handoff is not done? When handoff does not occur, then there will be what? There will be a weak signal. There will be a weak signal. Therefore, the caller and the callee will realize, or the called will realize that there is actually a weak signal. There's actually a weak signal. The person who is making the movements, the person who's moving around will be, the person who's moving around will experience a weak signal because that frequency, as he moves away from that cell, the control of that frequency by the base station controller weakens because he's moving away from that cell. Okay, so handoff basically is a handing over control of a frequency from one base station controller to another, especially when a caller moves further away from a cell into another cell, okay? Because different cells use different frequencies. So therefore, for someone not to lose connection, handoff happens. When you're moving from one cell to another, you may lose connection, but because you never actually lose connection, so that means handoff always happens. It is a mechanism to ensure that there is no loss of connection when you move from one cell to another, especially when you are making a call, or you are within a call. You're doing a call. At that time, you're doing a call. Okay, so that is what handoff is about. Now, why handoff occurs? The basic reason why handoff occurs, the most basic reason why handoff occurs is when during a call, you are moving away from one cell to another. So the frequency of the cell you are moving from is weakening because you're moving further away from the base station controller. And the frequency of the next base station controller is strengthening because you are moving closer to the base station controller of the new cell. So when a phone is moving away from an area covered by one cell and entering the area covered by another cell, then call is transferred to second cell to avoid call termination. All right, so that is the most basic reason, but there are other reasons. There are other reasons why handoff occurs. Now, those other reasons, we are going to discuss them here in types of handoff. Okay. Now, there are types of handoff. We are going to list types of handoff into 5 types. Okay, into 6 types actually. The first one is intercell handoff. The second one is intracell handoff. The third one is hard handoff. The fourth one is soft handoff. The fifth one is vertical handoff. And the sixth one is horizontal handoff. Okay. So in types of handoff, we are also going to discuss the whys of handoff, the why handoff occurs, the reasons why handoff occurs. Now, we have said that the first reason is what? When a caller is moving away from cell A to cell B, right? Therefore, the frequencies of cell A is weakening and the frequency of cell B is strengthening. In other words, the control of that call is handed over to the base station control of cell B. Okay, so that is the first reason, and that first reason, that type of handoff is called intercell handoff. When handoff occurs when a caller is moving from one cell to another. That is why it is written here. It is a type of handoff in which the source and the target are different cells. The purpose of intercell is to maintain the call as the subscriber or the caller is moving out of the area covered by the source cell and entering the area of target cell. So this is the most basic kind of handoff. Is the most basic kind of handoff where you are moving from one cell to another. Therefore, the frequency of the cell you are moving from is weakening because you're moving further away from the base station controller. And you're moving into the region or into the jurisdiction of another base station controller. So as you're moving, it's like moving from one country to another. When you move from one country to another, there are documents you change, right? So that you are able to, you can be allowed to do your operations in the country you've moved into, right? There are documents you change. You may even change your phone, because you'll be using a different network and such things. So when you're moving away to a country physically, I'm just giving an example which you can relate to. There are documents you actually change or you have to get so that you can move around freely and effectively in the country where you have moved into, right? So intercell handoff is like that. It's like moving from one country to another. So there are things that you need in the next country that you did not need in this country, or you don't now need for this particular country because you've moved to this other country. So intercell handoff is where you have moved from one, you as a caller, you are during a call, you move. Of course, we say that a cell is not geographically marked. You cannot know when you are joining another cell, all right? Cells are marked by frequencies of base station controllers, so they are not physically marked. So during a call, you are moving from one cell to another. That means that the frequency you are using belongs to the previous cell you are moving from. So you have to be assigned another frequency that is in the control of the cell you are moving into. So when that happens, the control of frequency is handed over from this cell to this cell as you are moving during a call. It's called intercell. That's why we say international travel, moving from one nation to another. So intercell is moving from one cell to another. Therefore, the control of your call is handed over from the previous cell to the next cell, or from the base station control of the previous cell to the base station control of the next cell. That's why we call it intercell handoff. Then intracell handoff is handoff that occurs within the cell. Within the cell, okay? But why does it happen? You are within the cell, you are not moving away from that particular cell. You are during a call, you are not moving away from that particular cell, but but actually handoff occurs. Why does that occur? Okay, handoff in which the source and target are one and same cell, on and only used channel is changed during handoff. Purpose of intracell is to change one channel which may be interfered. So basically, intracell handoff is just the change of frequency, because every base station controller has a set of frequencies. So one cell has one base station controller. It can be two, but normally it can be multiple. But normally we prefer one because of efficiency, because resource efficiency. But well, this base station controller emits multiple frequencies that can be used by the subscribers within that cell. So if during a call I'm using a certain frequency that experience interference, and we know why interference occurs in cellular networks. We remember the causes of interference, right? So those causes of interference, when interference works, then my call is going to be handed over to another frequency which has minimal or no interference, a frequency of the same cell. Okay, so that's why we call it intracell handoff. Intracell handoff is handoff that occurs within the cell. You're not moving away from the cell. You are a caller that is doing a call within the cell. But during that call, interference, the channel you are using, the frequency you are using has experienced interference. Okay, so that that call may not be terminated, that call is handed over to another channel or to another frequency. Okay, so handoff, even before we even continue to explain here, these are types of handoff. Handoff is an activity that happens without the consciousness of the caller or the subscriber. You never know when handoff occurs, okay, because it's not something you can hear. It's not something you can hear on your phone, all right, as you are calling. It just happens. The base station controller does all those things, okay, simultaneously when you are calling, So it, and also it happens fast, therefore you are not able to know. Like every time when you are traveling, like even your house, you can find that you are actually your house, you are within different cells. Okay, you are inside different cells in your house, or even in your room. You can find that you can walk from one cell to another, because you never know, you actually never know, because cells are not geographically marked. Okay, cells are not geographically marked. So anyway, and therefore when that happens, for intercell handoff, you can't know that you have moved from one cell to another, because you will not even feel or know that there is handoff that has occurred or that has been initiated by a base station controller. You always never know. You can't know, because it is in the prerogative of the base station controller. Then there is hard handoff. So we said intercell is when hard handoff, when you move from one cell to another. So your call is the control of your call is changed from the frequency of cell A to the frequency of cell B. Frequencies one another frequency of cell B. Intracell handoff is a handoff that occurs when the caller is within that cell, but control is given from one frequency of that cell to another frequency of that cell to when the previous frequency has experienced interference. Then hard handoff, it also known as break before make. Hard handoff is the type of handoff in which the channel in the source cell is where you are coming from. So that means you are moving from one cell to another, right? Source cell, and then there is destination cell, okay? So hard handoff, it is a type of handoff in which the channel or the frequency in the cell you're coming from is released, and only then the channel in the target cell is engaged. Thus, the connection to the source is broken before the connection to the target is made. All right, so we are saying that hard handoff minimizes the disruption to the call. Now, hard handoff, just from basically from the word hard, it's like a forced handoff. Now, hard handoff is a handoff that occurs intercell-wise. It's an intercell handoff where the frequency of the previous cell cannot be released, cannot be, the frequency of the destination cell or the target cell, the cell you are moving into, cannot be engaged unless the previous frequency has been completely released. That is why it is called hard handoff. Now, the reason why it's called hard handoff is because it has to detect a frequency of another cell, of the cell you are walking into. It has to detect a frequency and connect to it. And therefore, before it connects to it, it first has to release this other frequency so that it can connect to the frequency it has detected, right? So hard handoff, I think I can give you an example which you can relate to. Your young people. I'm very sure that at this point in your life, you have already been in one relationship or another, right? So what did you do when you moved from one relationship to another? Yeah. Did you stop this particular other relationship in order to move into another relationship, or you actually played around and saw which one will work better and you just moved away? Yeah. So it's for you to judge. But hard handoff is like first leaving one partner to join another partner, all right? Completely leaving one partner to join another partner. In other words, in the event that you're joining another partner, you do not have another partner waiting for you, right? So that is hard handoff. I know many people have a problem with that, yeah? A problem of leaving to cleave, leave to cleave, you leave to join, yeah? You kind of don't leave, you just play around with two frequencies, to see which one will work better. So hard handoff is where we release one frequency first to join to another frequency, and therefore the importance of that is that always it is an efficient handoff, because a frequency will always be free, because if a frequency is free, we know that the call has been handed over to the control of another base station controller, frequency of another base station controller. So always when a frequency is free, it is not a frequency that may be used again. It is completely free. Okay. So when you leave someone, ensure that they are completely free. You don't go back to check or whatever you go back to check or to go back to confirm. You leave them to leave them. You go and join another and you join. So that is hard handoff, right? So we are saying that it is a type of handoff where the channel in the source cell is first released, and after that channel or frequency is released, then the channel in the target cell is engaged. Okay. So it is an efficient kind of handoff. Then soft handoff is the opposite. Now, hard handoff is called break before make. In other words, break out of that relationship before you join another relationship. Break out of that frequency before you join another frequency. But soft handoff is called make before break. This is where it's the opposite of hard handoff. Hard handoff, you first release the frequency of the source cell to engage the frequency of the target cell. But here, you first engage the frequency of the target and then release. Okay, so it first engages a frequency in the targets. It's also a type of an inter-cell handoff, where there is a source cell and there is a target cell. There is a previous cell and there is a next cell. That kind of a thing, intercell, one cell to another. So in soft, it first detects which frequency it can use in the target cell. It picks that frequency. Then after it picks that frequency, then it releases this one, these other. Okay, so it is like in your relationship, you just hang around until you don't really tell this person you're not there. So you don't ever tell them you're not there. You just hang around, you play around, but actually in your brain you're looking for another. So you are just there trying, you are blinking like an LED node. You are trying to check for a frequency. Yeah, and then you get someone. When you get someone, now you tell this other person, okay, we are done. Now, I don't know if that is right. I don't think it's right. But well, that is what happens. That is soft handoff. You make before you break. You first, your phone first searches for a frequency. When it is moving from one cell to another during a call, your phone first searches for a frequency, and it doesn't release this particular frequency until it engages another frequency. So when it engages another frequency, then it releases this other frequency. Okay. Now, the problem with that is that there will always be a frequency that is held. There is always a frequency that is held when another frequency is being searched for. So it is not an efficient kind of frequency. Yeah. Here we are saying the interval during which two connections are used in parallel is very short. When a call is in state of soft handoff, the signal of the best of all used channels can be utilized at a given moment. So basically, hard handoff, soft handoff, they are types of intercell that work in different ways. All right, vertical handoff. Vertical handoff and horizontal handoff. This is very interesting. Vertical handoff refers to the handoff that occurs when two different users, or when a user is moving away from one device of a higher technological framework to another device one device of a higher technological framework to another device of another technological framework. Now, we can actually read here, it refers to the automatic failure from one technology to another in order to maintain communication. For example, a laptop might be able to use both high-speed wireless LAN and cellular technology, where wireless LANs connections provide higher speed. But cellular technology, cellular is now mobile phones, okay, smartphones. Cellular technologies provide ubiquitous coverage. Thus, laptop user want to use wireless LAN when laptop sorry, I was just looking at some notification here. Thus, laptop user wants to use wireless LAN when connection is available and use cellular technology when wireless LAN is unavailable. Now, look at this. For instance, I am accessing the internet, all right? Because the internet is also one of the services of a cellular network. We are going to go into what we call the GSM services, global service for mobile communication services, GSM services. Okay, and it's in topic, I think topic 8, chapter 8. You can look in your course outline. It's somewhere there. It's one of the very last topics, I think the third last. So in GSM services, internet service, video conferencing, and such kind of services are some of the services offered in a cellular network. Okay, so that's why with your Safaricom line, you are able to not only call, send messages, but you're also able to access the internet and other internet services. All right. So let us assume that you're using the internet, okay? And you are using, you want to alternate between your phone and your computers, your phone and your phone and your laptop, such that if your laptop is not able to, if your laptop is not able to use the wireless LAN, in other words, the Wi-Fi, then it should be able to automatically connect to the hotspot of your phone. Okay. Now, the hotspot of your phone, remember, the wireless LAN and the cellular LAN, they are two different speeds. Okay, that's why you find that the wireless LAN is faster, and when you're using the hotspot, the loading may be slow, especially when you're using high bandwidth sites like YouTube or video sites that have video. You'll find that your hotspotting will be slower to open those videos or to load those videos than using the wireless LAN. So you find that wireless LAN and the network, the hotspot network of your phone, they are actually two different technologies, okay? They're actually two different technologies. So as that happens, as you move from that particular connection from your laptop using the wireless LAN to your laptop using the hotspot connection of your phone, then there will be what we call vertical handoff, handing over control of these particular frequencies, because the wireless LAN uses a different frequency and the hotspot frequency is another different frequency. Okay, so when that happens, it's called a vertical handoff from one technology to another. Are we together? Like from laptop using wireless LAN to laptop using hotspot tethering. That is vertical handoff, because the wireless LAN is using a different frequency, the hotspot tether is using a different frequency. Okay, that's called vertical handoff. Then horizontal handoff refers to the technique of changing access point belonging to same technology. Okay, so if vertical handoff is different technologies, laptop using Wi-Fi to laptop changing, automatically converting to hotspot when this other is not working. So basically, horizontal handoff is the opposite, where the laptop does not change from wireless LAN to a hotspot tether. It changes from one wireless LAN to another wireless LAN. Now, for instance, you might be somewhere you're browsing and there are different Wi-Fi connections that your machine, like your laptop or even your phone, detects at a particular point. Okay, so it detects Wi-Fi. So like for me, if you click on my laptop, there are different Wi-Fi here. There is my hotspot. There are other Wi-Fi's for other people that are around me, or for other homes or households that are around you. So you actually realize that if my laptop changes from one wireless LAN, if I'm using my Wi-Fi, and then I change from my Wi-Fi to another Wi-Fi, all right, from my Wi-Fi to another Wi-Fi, because probably one has lost connection, so it automatically connects to another Wi-Fi, another wireless LAN. then that is what we call horizontal handoff, because handoff is occurring because one Wi-Fi, one wireless LAN has a what? Has its own frequency. So I was using a certain frequency, a different type. Then if my laptop connects automatically to another wireless LAN, another Wi-Fi, that particular Wi-Fi has its own frequency. So therefore, it is a handoff because it is frequency to frequency. That's the idea of handoff, frequency, change of frequency to another frequency. So it is horizontal because it occurs in the same technology, because these are two Wi-Fis of the same capability or they belong to the same technology. They belong to the same technology. They are both wireless LANs. That is the idea. So that is horizontal handoff. Horizontal handoff. So that is what we have in the types of handoff. Intercell, one cell to another. Intracell, within a cell, but to another frequency within that particular cell, because of the previous frequency has experienced interference. Then hard handoff within two different cells. It's an intercell handoff where it doesn't engage with another frequency until it has terminated the previous frequency. That's why it's called break to make. It first terminates this particular frequency and then engages that particular frequency. But soft handoff, it first engages the frequency of the target cell, then terminates, which is the opposite of hard. And the vertical handoff between frequencies of two different technologies, e.g. a laptop using wireless LAN and then automatically converting to hotspot tethering, which is of lower technology. All right, and horizontal handoff, where it's handoff between frequencies of different technologies, like the frequencies of a wireless LAN to wireless LAN A to the frequency of a wireless LAN B. So like from changing from Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi. But vertical handoff is like from changing from Wi-Fi to hotspots, okay, during a particular connection, okay. All right, so there is a handoff strategy that is normally used to do all this, and that handoff strategy is called the MAHO strategy. Now, this MAHO strategy is not a type of handoff. It's a strategy that is used regardless of the type of handoff that occurs. Now, MAHO handoff or MAHO strategy, basically it's the acronym for Mobile Assisted Handoff Operation. Mobile Assisted Handoff Operations. Just a minute. Okay. All right. So mobile assisted handoff operation, it's a strategy for how base station controllers do handoff. It's a strategy for handoff, how to manage handoff, okay? So if I ask you how base station controllers manage handoff, they use this particular strategy called the MAHO strategy, the mobile assisted handoff operation. Now, mobile assisted handoff operation is where it's a strategy where the base station controllers allow the mobile phones themselves, instead of the mobile, the base station controller performing the handoff or looking for the available frequencies to give this particular mobile cell or mobile phone, the base station controllers allow the mobile cells themselves to look for themselves the frequencies. Okay, so this is how mobile assisted, and take keen note of this word mobile assisted, meaning that it is a handoff where it is not just the base station controller that performs the handoff, also the mobile phone is involved in performing the handoff or making the handoff happen. So how does that work? So in MAHO, this is what happens. Every mobile at every single point when it is has a connection, measures the power from surrounding base station controllers. What does that mean? At every time when you are using your device or your laptop, whatever you're using, and it is in a certain connection, whether you're using a video call or you're using a video call, or you're just calling. Let's just say a normal call, like for your phone, you're calling. So you're calling someone every time when that mobile phone is on, and it's on, then at every single time it is on, it always keeps measuring how much power or how much strength of its frequency. Okay, and also keeps comparing the strength of its frequency with the frequency of other surrounding cells. Okay, now what that does is that there will be at no point a mobile phone or a device that is using that particular frequency, whether it's a laptop, it's a mobile phone, there is no at any particular point when that device is going to be experiencing a weak signal, because it is always checking for another stronger signal of neighboring base stations or neighboring cells. It is always checking, even when it is using a frequency of this particular base station controller of this cell. Even at that particular point, it is always checking for another more powerful frequency or another clearer frequency of another base station control of another cell. So what that does is that there will be at no point that it will be a victim. Okay, at no point will that mobile phone or that device be a victim of lower frequency, because it is always checking for another more powerful. And what will happen if this one weakens too much? It will communicate to the base station controller of the frequency that is more powerful, requesting that base station controller to give it this other frequency that is strong. Okay, so every mobile measures the received power from the surrounding base. Then mobile continually reports the results to the serving base station controller. So the mobile continually tells the base station controller of this particular cell that these are the number of frequencies that this is the frequency I'm using, and these are the other number of frequencies I'm detecting in my environment. And all these frequencies, it communicates with their power. So frequency A, 50%, frequency B, 75, frequency C, 63, frequency D, 86, frequency 4, 43, frequency 7, 96. So it always communicates the frequencies it is using, and the frequency it is using, and the frequencies it is detecting, gives all that as a report to the base station controller of the cell it is in. Now, why is that important? Because of number 3. A handoff occurs when power received from another base station exceeds the power received from current base station. Now, what happens is that every time a mobile phone or a device keeps communicating or giving a log, a log is it's like a track of activities. It's like a record of activities, a log. So when this mobile phone or this device, whether laptop or mobile phone, keeps sending a log or a report of the frequencies that are available, that it has detected, then what it will do, the base station controller, when it realizes that there are other frequencies that are higher in power than the frequency it gives this mobile phone, then it releases this mobile phone. Okay, it releases this mobile phone so that it can then join to another higher frequency of another base station controller. Okay, so what this strategy does, basically this strategy does this. The importance of this strategy is so that there will be at no point a device can be disadvantaged from a weak frequency. It will always be searching for higher frequency. So the idea of MAHO strategy is basically to always provide the devices within that cell with the high power frequencies of that particular cell or other cells. Okay, so the idea behind MAHO is so that every device can always benefit from the highest power frequency. Okay, it will never have a low power frequency. So let me give you an example from normal life. Now, in normal life, I'll still give you an example from how you normally behave in relationships. Yeah. So you are in a relationship, but when you are in your relationship, you're still assessing whether there are better people outside there. So this is number one. Every mobile measures the received power from surrounding base station. So you always keep monitoring whether you are enjoying yourself or whether you are receiving all that you need for that relationship. Yeah, you keep measuring the received power. You keep measuring whether you're receiving the needed love, the needed attention, the needed affection. Yeah, you keep measuring all those variables, right? You as a mobile, you measure the received power, and also you keep also measuring the what you are receiving from other potential people. So you keep measuring, okay, and especially you ladies, I think you do that most of the time, right? Yeah. Do you have a lady here? We don't have a lady here that is in, who is this that calls himself or herself Wi-Fi? Hmm? Anyway, but you ladies or whoever, even if you're men, you know, you keep assessing whether you're receiving the best from this relationship, and also keep assessing whether there are other people outside who tend to give you the best, other best that you don't receive here. So every time number two happens, you keep communicating what you are receiving from other people to the person you are with. So you keep disturbing your partner. You know, this other person calls me every time. You know, this other person buys me things every time. You know, this other person does these things. So you keep continually reporting the results of what you are monitoring from your environment to your current base station controller or your current partner. Yeah? And of course, number three happens when your partner realizes, okay, there are people who you are more happier with. There are people who you are more happier with. Then what does your base station controller, your partner, do? They release you. So that's why we are saying number three, a handoff occurs when power received from another base station exceeds the power received from current base station. Okay, so handoff, you're now handed over to those other people that you want. Okay, so what happens, during all this MAHO, the monitoring, the logging and reporting, and the handoff itself, what device actually manages MAHO? It is the master station controller. It is the MSC uh, that actually does all those. But in the event that there are many subscribers, the MSC may not need to monitor the complete process. So basically, we've said that MAHO enables the call to be handled over between base stations at much faster rates, all right, than in the analog system where it is a base station controller that was controlling the handoff. So here, for using the mobile devices, these mobile devices can themselves monitor for themselves. They can monitor for themselves frequencies, and they're able to keep logging and reporting that to the base station controller. Okay, so that is what we have. I'm going to require you to read about this prioritizing handoff. There are two methods that are used when in a cell handoff is to be prioritized. Okay, how does a base station controller know that it is time to give a handoff? Apart from whether it is moving from one cell to another or there is interference, there are ways of prioritizing handoff, especially when there are different devices that require handoff at the same time. Okay, so if there are different devices at the same time that require handoff at that particular time, T1, then how does the base station controller manage or prioritize handoff? How does it make handoff to happen for those cells simultaneously that need handoff simultaneously? So that is the idea of prioritizing handoff, when there are different devices at the same time requiring handoff. Okay, so how do we give each device priority? So I want you to read about prioritizing handoff, where there are two methods that are used to prioritize handoff when there are different cells requiring handoff at the same time. There is guard channel handoff and queuing. Guard channel and queuing. So I want you to read those two particular ways of prioritizing handoff: guard channel and queuing. Okay, and therefore 10 p.m. is already here, so I'm going to allow you now to go and do that work on your own, and we are going to meet in the next class for multiple access techniques. Any question? Any question? All right. If there be no question, then I beg to end the meeting. Or there is a okay. Paul says he's okay. So if there is no question, then I beg to end the meeting so that I join the next meeting, if you allow. So we are going to meet in the next class for multiple access techniques. Remember to read about prioritizing handoff. Every work that I give you from the syllabus is testable in an exam. So don't say because the teacher didn't teach that, it cannot be tested. It will be tested. Basically, the reason for me giving you work is so that you may engage with the unit at a more intimate level. Yeah, because if I teach you, your work is to listen and kind of to interpret that knowledge and to comprehend. But when I give you work, it's for you to go and involve yourself in actually join yourself with the unit better. You go and be intimate with the unit. All right. Yeah, by researching and doing all that. So basically, that is it for today. Then I wish you a good day. Stay safe. The lockdown has been lifted, but don't move around. The lockdown has been lifted because the economy is in a bad state. It's not because the disease is gone. It's still here with us. So keep yourself safe and don't move around. Don't be too excited. The recording has been done, so I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it later. I'm going to share it later together with others. I'm going to upload them to the YouTube channel so that you can access them from there. Okay. Yeah, so I have the recording. The recording has been happening all throughout the class. So I have it stored in my local disk. So I'm going to share that. I'm going to upload that in the YouTube channel together with others. Okay, then. So have yourself a good day.